You know when you make a recipe at home and it's fine, but it doesn't taste anything like the restaurant? There's a guy on Reddit who says he's made Din Tai Fung's garlic green beans at least 20 times and still can't figure out why his version tastes nothing like the original. So I tracked down the ingredient lists Din Tai Fung trains their employees on, trying to figure out how they can charge $16 for a dish with only 6 ingredients. And it turns out every recipe online is missing at least 4 out of the 6. Let me walk you through what I found, starting with why most recipes never taste quite right. If you've ever made Chinese green beans, you've probably tried to get that blistered, wrinkled look on the outside and ended up with something soggy and overcooked instead. That's because nearly every recipe online just has you sautéing them. And no matter how hot you get that pan, it overcooks the inside of the bean before the outside ever gets hot enough to blister. What Din Tai Fung does is a super quick deep fry to blister the outside, and then they toss them in a wok with garlic and some pretty unconventional seasonings, and the whole thing comes together in about 30 seconds. When I was going through the training materials, I noticed they list garlic oil and minced garlic as 2 separate ingredients. Din Tai Fung is actually using garlic twice, and that's one of the main reasons homemade versions of this dish never really get the flavor right. The garlic oil is what gives the whole dish an aromatic garlic flavor without overpowering it. And it's really easy to make, but there are a couple of things you have to get right. First, always start with cold oil. Here I've got about 1.5 cups of vegetable oil. And to that, I'll add 8 to 10 finely minced cloves of garlic. Then put this on medium-low heat and let them come up to temperature together. The reason you start with cold oil is so everything cooks evenly. If you drop garlic into hot oil, the outside burns before the inside ever has a chance to release its flavor and infuse into the oil. Just let this go for about 10 to 15 minutes, stirring occasionally. And you want to pull it just a shade before it looks done to you, because this garlic will go from golden brown and delicious to Clive Barker's Hellraiser in about a nanosecond. And the residual heat in that oil is going to keep cooking it even off the burner. Then strain the oil through a fine mesh strainer as soon as it comes off the heat. The ingredient list calls this a soy-based garlic oil. When I first read that, I went down a rabbit hole thinking they were flavoring the oil with soy sauce. But when I tried it, it didn't taste anything like theirs. It turns out soy-based just means they're using soybean oil as the base. That's what Din Tai Fung is using to stir-fry their green beans. And then they finish it with just a tiny bit of freshly minced garlic right at the end. That's your 2 garlics. They don't use those crispy garlic bits in the actual dish, but that's your little treat for making this at home. So make sure to keep those too. They're an incredible topping for rice, noodles, basically anything. And you can keep the oil in a covered container at room temperature for about a month. But this is only one of the ingredients most recipes are missing. The training materials also list mushroom bouillon. This stuff is like the chicken stock of the plant kingdom. It adds a ton of savory depth without tasting like any one specific thing. DTF doesn't add MSG directly to any of their dishes, but mushroom bouillon does contain some, which is part of why this dish tastes so much more complex than you'd expect from only 6 ingredients. I've never been able to find the exact brand they use because Din Tai Fung's kitchen is a f***ing vault, but I'm pretty sure they're using Totole. Their training materials say the bouillon contains MSG, and if you compare the 2 most popular brands, Totole lists MSG as its 4th ingredient. Lee Kum Kee's mushroom bouillon doesn't contain any MSG at all. And Totole's US distributor happens to be about 3 miles from DTF's central kitchen in City of Industry, California. If you're looking for it at the grocery store, just look for this rather suggestive looking fungi on the label. Something else I found is an ingredient called preserved mustard greens. And if you look at photos of the dish at the restaurant, you can actually see it. These light little colored bits mixed in with the green beans. That's a preserved vegetable called zatsai. I have one source that says the exact brand DTF uses is this red and yellow can labeled Sichuan preserved vegetable, but I've never been able to confirm this with anyone else. Read the ingredients on the can though, because some of them are actually radish and not mustard stems. A much more common brand of zatsai is Wujiang, and the Wujiang clan ain't nothing to mess with. They come in these little foil packets and you'll find them in the refrigerated section of your local Asian grocery store. And the last ingredient I couldn't find in a single recipe online is a Taiwanese rice wine called michiu. Most recipes call for Shaoxing wine, but that's Chinese. Din Tai Fung is a Taiwanese restaurant, and michiu is much more common in Taiwanese cooking. If you've seen any of my PF Chang's videos, you probably already have this in your pantry. Those are the 4 ingredients almost no one online is using. Now, let me show you how DTF actually cooks this thing. Fill a large pot or a wok with neutral oil and heat it up to 375 degrees. Then drop the beans in. And we're only deep frying these for about 45 to 60 seconds. And I know deep frying at home makes people nervous, but the high heat here actually means the green beans absorb less oil. While they're frying, the moisture inside of them turns to steam and pushes outward while they're blistering. And that creates a barrier that keeps the oil from soaking in. So you end up with less oil than if you had just stir-fried them. Deep frying is somehow the healthier option here. Then pull them out and drain them on a wire rack. Don't use paper towels here because most of the oil absorption happens after the food comes out of the fryer. So you want that oil dripping away from the beans, not soaking back into them. Heat a clean wok over medium heat until it's lightly smoking. Add 1 to 2 tablespoons of the garlic oil and swirl it around so it coats the surface. Then add a 1/4 teaspoon of fresh garlic and 1 teaspoon of finely minced zatzai at the same time. Stir fry these for about 10 to 15 seconds just until it's fragrant. And then toss in a tablespoon of the michiu cooking wine. It's gonna sizzle and pretty much evaporate on contact. And that's basically creating a glaze with the aromatics and the garlic oil. Toss in the blistered green beans and sprinkle them with 1 teaspoon of the mushroom bouillon and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Turn the heat up to high and toss everything together for about 20 to 30 seconds until the seasoning dissolves and coats every bean evenly. All the exact weights and measurements for everything in this recipe are in the recipe document linked in the description. And that's it. This is going to get you closer to Din Tai Fung string beans with garlic than anything else online. Now, very quickly before the taste test, the original Sichuan version of this dish actually has ground pork and a completely different preserved vegetable. Din Tai Fung stripped all of that out for their version. If you want to try something closer to the original, Triple Pepper here in Houston does a really good traditional Sichuanese take on it. And if you want to try something almost identical to DTF's version, Who's Cooking in West U is really good. And I feel like that name is a perfect setup for a joke. What do you want to eat tonight? Who's cooking? I have no idea, that's why I'm asking. No, who's cooking? Both of these restaurants are legit, so if you're ever in Houston, you should definitely check them out. All right, back to the taste test. Din Tai Fung's own menu calls this string beans with garlic. And after everything we just went through, I think you can appreciate how much that undersells it. This is a much more complex dish than anyone gives it credit for. And now you can make it at home for about $3. If you liked this video, I also did their fried rice, which you can check out right here. And that one has even fewer ingredients. Thanks for watching. See you next time.